Hello, thanks very much for that, Scott, and thanks, Sophie, for that lovely reading, and everyone that's invited me today to this launch, and Emily in absentia for the fantastic anthology. So I'm going to do a bit of a pick and mix. I'll start with exotic birds, which are featured in the anthology, a few of the poems from that, and there's also a CD that goes with the anthology, which Exotic Birds is on, so I'll do one of those tracks. Then I'll go into some from Ozones, which is a chapbook about sort of environmental concerns, which one of the poems is in Out of Everywhere, and then finish with some new work of this time. So if we can start with that track.
Nylon hen, found asleep in public land survey system, 640 acres, 36 sections, 1 township, 1 shelf. Found asleep in hanging storage unit, 1 hen in place of a shoe, find asleep in 280 kilometres of wind in 1 hour, asleep in 8,000 feathers, 1 heartbeat, 1 wave. The western expansion of the US ends with a hen in a shoe bag, and the bag fills with spaces for shoes, filled with spaces for no one to fill them. Let us be the generation, Obama. Let us recruit a new army of teachers. Let us feel comfortable in the wearing of nylon vests to prevent death or discussion of Flood Control Act of 1928, of sovereign immunity for the state, of the Army Corps of Engineers, of the need for shoes in New Orleans while the bag fills with sounds of the empty, narratives of safety, and the hen sleeps on through the clucking. Flamingo. The following daylight has been booked for your flight above urban as site of safety. You have a choice of accepting or accepting the choreography of a person living in a camera, forced to dress up history in shitty little breakups of pearls, vanishing necks or points or flaps. Flamingo, a young, unconventional or lively woman, a mallard or a partridge, opposite you on a train, can tell as much about you from your underlining just beneath the shoulder blades. Some scattered dry-eyed lens or shutter picks, inverts, clicks, species at the last minute, decides, inside pretty little cabinets jellied up and ready for the next twitch. Lost or misplaced attention folds, curls in its petals, prepares you for flight over urban as site of storage, temporary, inflatable, sink. You have a choice of accepting the following flight off page, migrate from third person, travel long distance from bird to bird watcher, home where nest will split. So most of the poems, I don't know what I keep... It's a pen.
Yeah.
I was thinking rose petals aren't that noisy, but okay, that's my pen. So most of them are from exotic birds, but there is one from this chapbook, Ozones, which is sold out, so I couldn't bring it. So I'm going to read a couple from here. I think I'll start with the audio track, Tom, if you're ready to play that one. So it looks like this, it's sort of these chords of words. glitter, clouds, unbuckling, clouds, cost, litter, 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 cost, litter, cost, litter, cost, cost, litter, 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 cost, litter. Vienna in green. Asda with your green light, I prefer you to Lidl. In that moment's flight between glass and light, I prefer you, Lidl. Asda with your green light. What a feeling, a delight is Flashdance the musical, sublime in the half-light of Asda's vast spotlight, vertigo-like, in middle of revolving kissed light, embracing it like Kim Novak, suicidal, I take flight into Sainsbury's. Orange light reminds me of Lidl, but not quite. Sunlight is not like the light that lights Lidl. That light is a stiff light. It irons the air bright yellow with red middle bricks of sick light. The whole sky is a trick light. Seeing it reversible, like flight, like all the light in sight is impossible unless viewed inside out. Light, I look out of light. It is April. The whole sky is an apple. Refuge wear for Lucy Orter. In a life where everything is falling, disturbance is routine, unchecked, as air unbluing. I try to cleave the colour, pull oxygen shrug tighter, shouldering planet's tension as my own, undoing everything unbuttoning in the tear of matter. My temporary refuge wear is part cagoule, part canoe, part sleeping bag. I chafe across car parks, searching for a blue fix, just one to take the edge off. There is too much. I am trying to save and say, nothing makes a dent, I'm too soft. A protest rests inside polyester, a light fallout with each unfastening wave. And from this chapbook I'll end with one called Sharks, which is in the anthology, so sharks in their absence. In an ocean, healthy coral is first borne out by presence of sharks. In their absence, scientists determine the entire ecosystem is underdressed, duress, house or hold kerosene with flowers, arm the retro domestic for a modern spill through rubber, pinned by marigold skin, sugar-coated spin of sea at 30 degrees these deeds seethe. Look up. Controlled environment marigolds as the soft collapse of coral barely registers as nudity washes backless over water, freshening as one thing becoming other, retrieving still something from some original in an ocean. Evidence of healthy oil is first borne out by drops into industrial, splits the skin of it. Quaint to think of drink or touch an ocean broken. I collected BP tokens, got a mug and a glass and an ICAM video recorder by sticking green shield stamps into an ocean of evidence of slip. If not reef, then tongue. If not gulf, then stream. Actual physical evidence. CNN run. Curved fish. Rubber trust, miscrust, or incorrectly sheave with panoramic gold slick, silk smear, stack flat the names of everything. Flora, fauna, shell. See through this transparency. Who funds poets but poets? Who funds ethics but oil? Who reads anything now that is incredible? Read credible, but poets. In their absence, sharks. Thank you. Just to read from the latest work, just from swims. So I'm doing some wild swims around the country, and I just thought I'd end with this. It's the most recent work. Okay. So it starts with a preface. The swims start and end in Devon, which is my home county, and I'll just begin, I think, with a quote from Bataille, sort of changed. So the quote is, a dictionary would start from the point at which it would no longer give the meanings but the tasks of words. That's Bataille. To swim, to give, up, to disappear, to appear in Vanity Fair before breakfast and afterwards destroy economy of Greece. Christine Lagarde, director of the International Monetary Fund, starts the day with swimming, so that's what that's representing. To float, to pierce film lid between air and water, to explode outwards, to be an assemblage, to flower in the wrong place, to be in the wrong place, to drift, to not advance, capitalism, to grow in a hedge, to be likened, to be at once in the body and under and over it, to sink and to get back up, to spread tail feather in display of bone, to be closer to skeleton and totally fine. What's the worst that could happen? Already fallen, already wet, already missing from the earth. But recoverable, always there is something left to be dug up, to be eaten, to be stolen. There is something left, always, when words are at their fullest stretch. Something left that cannot be taken, to not being taken. Swimming is continuous, only the rivers are intermittent. The river is something that happens like exercise or illness to the body. On any given day I am rivering. Not that the river is like the body or the river is the body, but both have gone and what is left is something else. To not end where you thought you did, not with skin, but water, not with arms, but meadow of watercress, dropped wet, floating penwet, against all odds to be buoyant. To feel there is an upward force greater than the weight of the heart, the knuckles, the head, to feel as in to feel it physically push up the ribs, which are bones now, everything remembering what it is. Becoming is remembering, silking in the silt of the sand, of the shell of the bone, seeing in the reeds, in the rushes, hordes of heartbeats not my own, mollusk onto stone, millfowl onto moss, mayfly onto trout, metal onto clay, acid onto wire, electrified chicken wire to keep the salmon in. The summer will make a day of it. Fill the car up, make a day of it. Fill the river, make like mayflies. In the summer, swim in traffic, swim in the car, in the river, in the summer, in the city, in the chicken, in the acid, in the salmon, in the rain, in the silt, in the sulphur, in the algae, in the day, and will come and part as friends. In the day, in the river, in the moss, in the rushes will come and part. In the river, in the heather, in the rushes, in the rain will stay. In the days are over, and summer is over us. Salmon leap over us, all come apart in the end of the day, and the river. And I'll end with two poems that were in the same location, which was in Surrey, in the River Ouse, which is where Virginia Woolf ended her days. And so the first one is from the River Ouse, but the poem is performed at increasing speed. And it's looking at currents and the way that we measure currents. The simplest method of determining the velocity of a current involves an observer, a floating object or drifter, and a timing device. US Department of Commerce, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. One by one the horses come. Breaths soft shuffle through, water foams open and out, pairs a language I am learning. Through the body I am learning, through the fact of my being here. Haunch in water, standing, head in hedge, standing with everything I've got. The simplest method of determining the velocity of a current involves a horse, a floating object or drifter, and a timing device. One by one the horses come. Purring the open I stare, and shake, shiver, jolt in parts of the body yet to be discovered. I ache in the hedge, but the water is forcing me open. The horses are dark as the earth, darker than earth, deeper, their flanks rise from the pit of the word, the gut of the word, the ditch, the dust, the ear, the air, the native soil or land. Deeper than that is the horse that purrs me open in open water. The simplest method of determining the velocity of a word involves a horse, a girl, and a timing device. One by one the horses come, stirring me open into water, into open water I bend and purr. From rib to hip is a rich loam, I flank and fall and purr. In the water I am learning that the simplest method of determining the velocity of a word involves a horse, a girl, and a poem. And the last one from the River Ouse, which began with an email which reads, I'll be doing a swim wearing a swimsuit on which I've written some hopes and fears on current environmental issues. I'm inviting you to write your own hopes and fears on the swimsuit. Your writing can be as brief or as long as you like. You may have a few lines or a single word. I may sink with the weight of them or rise with their purpose. So usually I try and indicate what was on the swimsuit at the start of the swim by doing something on the left-hand side, but I've got this bulky book with me, so I'm not quite, I think I might just stop you going to the left, and then sort of on the right is what was left on the swimsuit after the swim, so after the water had eroded the text, so I might just sort of lean in that direction. And if I'm not doing anything weird, then that's just the text that I've written in response to the activity. Okay. Sun slides buttery over the rushes. Water softens, stills. Elsewhere, events. I, the rhythm of river, part nature, part poem, part kin. Gaza, may you not be a war zone. I, the collaboration, may you not be a war zone. Part nature collapses the shoulders, falls back onto milk. I, Cleopatra, with sun's areola flush across throat. I, the event, individual, forging, collective afloat, submerged in the matter of all of us mattering. Does my carbon footprint look big in this? A throb exit river to laughter's warm shiver. I, brim with the love for the parts that need. I, the brim of the river. I brim the world from this spot out. I, to be outwards. I brim outwards to it. Nettles, rush, lemon, loosestrife, time, purple, loosestrife, flood, lemon, flood, purple, flood, in Dawlish, flood, in Morsel. Cannot compare, cannot compress, compassion compress as flowers through pages of a book. To look doesn't do much. Looking back, we see the frailty through the years. The pages press morsel in the riverbanks and look and look and look and not to look away. Warm the eyes, vein the lids, push to the tip of the lash the light. Kurdish forces push front lines. Low hills brim, send smoke into the sky, he says. I brim. Can he do more than report? Can I do more than read? Read in the river, roar with teeth. Read with teeth, body crackles with distortion, static of river, his body through, stays, moves the same but reconfigured, as if to say the person has a fractal relation to the river as hydrogen, oxygen perhaps, body, river. Imagine every full stop replaced by perhaps. That is a language I would like to live in, perhaps. Deep in the water of blue, so unlike blue, you think of almost every other colour first, perhaps yellow, perhaps brown, perhaps flotilla of speckled wood, butterflied, explode on the tongue, perhaps, an ellipsis. You swallow, and there is nothing to hold on to. Your throat is a gutter for the fallen, yes. Your jaw locks, yes. Instead of perhaps, yes. A stoplight, loose jaw, is its own torch, emits red light as well as blue, yes. Blue is rarely just blue, yes. River rarely just river, yes. Body rarely just body, yes. Think of all the things I've swallowed, like a ceasefire, like a widening of the territory, like an open-ended truce. Back reorientates itself to water in a new way of walking, a new way of moving the earth, to drift like wood in water, with such soft rooting. Glimpse a pine cone before it is one, see it green, hanging bunched like bananas. Forget what you know of texture, what it is to be hard, brittle starts soft. And why not be soft? Choose to live with softness as far as nature chooses. Genetics give us the invitation to wear ourselves. Why not accept and push up to the top of ourselves, push out of our lungs, up through the larynx, the ceiling, the cortex, the feathers. I place my palm to your bark and pulse, up through the matter and up, I up and begin to sense distance differently. Impossibly far is here, galaxies here, and to be that tall and distant, yet consistently you, all the way up, from navel to stars, up I up like a soft, soaring, rooted. We glide, a moving forest, all committed, and what more are tribes and villages of poems, pulsating together, and not always perfect, but sometimes. Sometimes there is a perfect pulse, and people ring in chords, layer on layer on layer. We breathe and sigh simultaneous. And why not speak these chords at times when there is no time, and breathe at times when there is no time, sound at no times when there is time for speech or breath or sound I hear. And only the time you are given for the task you are given is the time you receive, although you know it is no gift. And so to swim is the time to swim as much as it is anything. And legs and heads seem far from time, but are as much it as it is anything. And so to swim is to bring the body back from wherever it has been in time. And so to swim is to be on time, not in it. A field tears itself up of the earth like a strip of Velcro, reattaches to the retinas and glows through the eyelids. Veins are clouded, gold sifts and puffs jellyfish. Eyes are immense jellyfish. Double, triple the size of on land. Head is light, cloud, eyes immense, golden trafficking, colour is everywhere. How light is your head is the opposite of migraine. There is cold pouring from your head. It is the brightest light you have ever owned, and it pours from you. And it is like speaking. Lips part, and tongues chime against roof of river mouth, speaking. Yellow bubbles of light falling, open, vowels, little twigs of words, open, edges, at the edge of words, opening, and speech comes, swift, circle, and little throbs of letters tumble, and you can hear their hearts beating, little throbs of words beating. Smell of fur and feathers, wet on the wing of words, wet in the air, tongue wet on the air, beating, little wild words, thump in the mouth.